psychotronic, psychedelic, psychotic weirdness in an apartment. The Scary of 61st is a Shudder exclusive from Utopia and Shudder, and it was written and directed by Dasha Nekrasova. Pretty certain I mispronounced that name, I do apologize. Also written by Madeline Quinn, and they also star in the movie. They also probably made coffee and ran the cameras and decided to go run for energy drinks and Thai food and all that stuff and everything because, boy, this was a small production, which isn't an indictment against a movie usually. But I'll get into this review a little bit more. I will have a spoiler section in a little bit. I would love to know what you guys have to say in the comments because this is something that is going to divide a whole lot of people. It does feel like, two best friends got together and decided to just make a movie with an idea that they had, and they just wanted to throw some ideas at the wall and see what stuck. Unfortunately, what stuck was not all that much. So they just kept chucking more stylish stuff at the screen, like, fancy camera work and, like, stuff from the 60s, 70s, even the 80s, like slashers, and even, a little bit of, like, Italian giallo. I mean, I believe that's how it's pronounced. They decided to, try to be stylish with the synth music and, the weird pans and the very, very red blood and a whole bunch of, like, cool color schemes and strange camera tricks, which there's nothing wrong with doing stuff like that. But what else do you have? Oh, there isn't all that much to it. So if it isn't clear, just from that description, while I appreciate the ambition of the movie, and again, I'll get into the plot here in just a little bit, I did not really care for this. In fact, it was just basically weird for the sake of being weird, and it also didn't have a lot of substance to it. Had this been a 30 or 40 minute movie as part of an anthology horror series, it probably would have worked a whole lot better. Again, I appreciate the goddamn ambition, but I can't ignore what I fucking saw. I pretty much hated this goddamn movie outside of, like, the technical tricks that they tried to have because it was just bad. It was literally like a student film that just got a little bit of funding, got a streaming distribution deal, and I have seen student films that have been more coherent than this. Now, I understand what they were trying to do. It just wasn't done very well. Now, I have seen way worse movies than this. This also came out at the very end of 2021, December 24th to be exact. But because of the fact that this movie, that a lot of people weren't made aware of this movie until recently, I'm going to put it on, one of my lists of, favorite or least favorite movies of 2022. And if you can't tell by now which list it's going to be on, well, sorry. Hate to say it if you like this movie, but I did not at all. The plot, such as it is, involves two friends, Noelle, Madeline Quinn, and Addie, played by Betsy Bronson, who decide to move into an apartment. A pseudo-lavish apartment. This is an apartment complex that looks like it was designed in the 1920s with very narrow hallways and everything and doors slamming into each other. And this realtor shows them around. Nothing has been cleaned. I mean, the floors might have been swept a little bit, but all this furniture, this piano, all this stuff was left there. Why was it left there? Oh, previous tenants. Wouldn't you think the realtor would know? What the hell's going on here? So these friends move in. Addie's very, very strange. And Noelle isn't exactly the most normal person either, as you find out as the movie goes on. But we get a plot twist. Like, if you've read it on IMDb, fine. I'm not going to spoil it here. But if you read, the plot description on IMDb, unfortunately, it does not get to even come close to describing just how bonkers that is. And a bonkers premise isn't the worst thing in the world. I saw a couple indie horror movies just recently, A Banquet and The Feast, that actually were quite good because they dealt with subtlety and, yes, cool camera tricks. They had life and energy. This just decides to hit you over the fucking head with all this trickery to disguise the fact that it doesn't really have much of anything of substance. So, these two friends, I don't know how they ever became friends because they seemingly hate each other right off the bat. They're already arguing. Addie's got a boyfriend that's a bit weird. Noelle doesn't have anybody. She's a strong, independent woman that don't need no man, and we find out why a little bit later. Spoiler, a little bit of a spoiler right there. But Addie is a little bit strange. She goes out with Greg, and then Noelle finds this girl called The Girl, and they start to uncover some vast, weird shit that has happened in and around this apartment and around their city, and my goodness, it's really, really bizarre. Description, again, does not begin to cover just how weird this is. So also, since they decided to use kind of like, the camera trickery and the Italian influence, the Giallo influence, or Giallo, I think, I always call it gelato, because of course I do. Since they're trying to do that stuff, sometimes it can seem like sensory overload. They do lots of zooms, they do lots of weird stuff, they have a few, they have a couple of weird dream sequences. People start to act out for no goddamn reason. And then people just switch on a goddamn dime, and it's like, oh, we're just going to have something like this. It sort of reminded me of Nightmare Man, except this was more coherent. And I think there was passion behind this. There was no passion behind Nightmare Man. Seriously, I don't think you understand how much I loathe that movie. But things start to go really, really south, and then we find out there's this weird, crazy world that's happening all centered around this goddamn apartment. But what is it? Well, it's really goddamn stupid, the explanation. In fact, it just gets dumber and dumber and dumber to the point where I'm just like, this needs to end. This movie is 81 fucking minutes, 81 minutes, from opening credits to the end credits. And some of this motherfucking shit is stretched the fuck out. And then also they seemingly rush things like, oh, bing, this character's doing this. Bing, this character's doing this. Hey, this character's over here. Oh, how did this happen? How did this get, taken care of? How did this get adjusted compared to the previous scene? What the hell's going on? Ambition isn't the worst thing in the world, but unfortunately this movie only has ambition. It doesn't have anything of substance as far as the plot. So I am going to get into spoilers here. It does prove that Apartment Hunting is a goddamn bitch, by the way. But that's... I was actually shocked by just how bad this movie ended up being. Because I'm like, the Scary of 61st, okay, it looks ridiculous, but whatever. Poster looks like a bit of a throwback. And then I found out that's all the thing had was throwbacks. So yeah, let's get into spoilers here. It is on Shudder if you want to check it out. Okay, spoilers. All right, so that thing about the apartment. It turns out that this apartment was owned by Jeffrey Epstein. Or Steen, however you want to say it. Epstein, I believe. Yes, him and Maxwell and all those people and everything ran this thing and had these girls here, and there was a stained mattress and a whole bunch of weird shit, and Addie ends up getting possessed by a little girl, or she's psychotic, or whatever. I don't know. For the first time in a while, I mean, I did my best to describe it. I don't know what the fuck this movie was. It was ridiculous, bonkers, and at first I was like, okay, cool, I might be in for something, really, really trippy. No, it just turns out to be this. The girl and Noelle form a bond, a serious bond, a lesbian bond, as it were, which is all good, be who you are. And this girl tells her about all this research she's done about Epstein and, everything. We see all this research of like this private island thing and all this YouTube footage and all this stuff. And, oh, there's these apartments and this stuff are like 5 blocks away from each other. 5 points on the pentagram. Ooh, there's this weird sun card that Noelle finds in her apartment a little bit before. But then it turns out to actually be something that leads to Addie getting possessed. Possessed by who? One of the little girls that died there? Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck cares? Greg also is very obviously gay. Nothing wrong with that. Be who you are. Point to that shirt back there. You decided to try and be, a certain way in the comments. Get the fuck out. Also, they use the R word. That's all I'm going to say. Please do not put that word there. Please don't. There are certain words I'm just not going to fucking say. They use that word a few times in this. Whatever. Some people can be dicks. I can be a dick. I'm just not going to say that. But if it seems like I can't really describe the plot beyond that, it's because I don't know what the fuck happened. The girl, and that's what Dasha, by the way, that's her name. That's the only name we're given of that. She's just a girl that researches. Her and Noelle get together. Addie starts to lose it a little bit more. Her and Greg are having sex at one point, and she decides to say, she decided to say, F me like I'm, underage, basically, is all I'm going to say like that, because she starts being possessed. He's like, what the fuck's going on? Then she starts to get more psychotic, and it turns out she's obsessed with the royal family, who may or may not have any ties to this Epstein thing, and she's got obsessive, collection of memorabilia from the UK and whatever, because why the fuck not? I don't know what else to really say about this, because it's just bizarre. We get this weird psychotronic stuff. We get Addie acting weird, throwing food on the floor, doing a weird, thing in effigy, just weird shit going on. Like, she does this weird altar thing. Then she tries to kill the girl in the basement. And then it turns out the girl's actually dead. Addie ends up getting killed by Noelle. Turns out Noelle's actually the evil one, and she's in on this thing. The realtor is part of this, vast, pedo ring. And people are just being killed in this apartment to sacrifice to Satan, I guess, or somebody. Or maybe maybe not Satan, but somebody on, Pluto? Ha-ha! No, not that Pluto. Who knows? And then the girl ends up basically, taking the boyfriend, Greg, back to the apartment, and the apartment's all cleaned up. Because she ends up killing Noelle with this stone they got at this weird magic shop thing. And it's a stone, but I mean, then again, good stone or not, you hit somebody in the head with a stone, especially in the back of the head, you're probably going to kill them. And then the apartment's all cleaned up and everything. And the last notes are, give up your inquiries, which are completely useless, and, basically consider this a second warning. We hope that this will suffice. Okay, that's from Eyes Wide Shut, by the way, in case you didn't remember. Eyes Wide Shut, the last movie of Stanley Kubrick, oddly enough. Not his best effort, but that's fine. Yeah, just finds this note on this piano that happened to be there in the apartment and whatever, and what's she gonna do? I don't know. Everybody else is dead. The realtor just vanished. I don't fucking know what the fuck. I had no problem with movies being obscure and you trying to have to figure out your own thing. This movie didn't know what the fuck it wanted to be. Or if it did, it sure didn't fucking come across. So, yeah, that's all I got. F. It gets an F. Sorry. I appreciate the effort. I appreciate, the technical wizardry and all the camera work. But, god damn, this was bad. It was like a student film where you were just basically hit over the head with stuff and it's like, accept this, accept this, accept this. It was about, I guess, wrapping yourself up in conspiracy theories too goddamn much to the point you kill people. Okay. Whatever. Agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.